Hi. It's Carol Serby, and you're watching Body Talk Revolution TV, where you will learn ways your body is speaking to you and how to use this information to live your full potential. Today, we are going to be talking about the personal power chakra, the yellow chakra, and how to work with, understand, and develop your own personal power. Sorry, I have a hard time reading my own writing sometimes. So how to work with, understand, and develop your own personal power. How's that? A little bit clearer? Okay, great. So known as usual, I have all my notes here, so just bear with me if I'm looking down. I want to make sure that I don't miss a thing. Known as your personal power chakra, this is the chakra where we form our own sense of self, our own sense of ego, and a personality separate from the tribe. If you recall, we talked about the tribe a couple of weeks ago. The power of the first chakra, so the tribal chakra, resonates with the group, our tribe. The power of the second chakra, the partnership chakra, resonates with the power of groups. The third chakra, the solar plexus chakra, the personal power chakra, resonates with your personal power. This chakra holds secrets about the many personal power struggles you had growing up as a child, and most specifically those adults that were most predominant, generally parents and authority figures. All the secrets and all the feelings of your experiences with those people as a young child are held in your personal power chakra. Do not confuse the term personal power with ego or with dominance. Okay, two totally separate things. Personal power and self-esteem are power forces that work from the inside out. To hold steadfast in spite of what is going on around us. You could liken it to being the eye in the center of the hurricane. So you're holding fast while all this other stuff circles around you. And it's about being true to yourself and what you want on the inside, instead of trying to manipulate outside situations and then adjusting your course. So it's about truly creating what has meaning and authority for you. The energy connection to the emotional and mental bodies of this chakra are activated by issues relating to self-responsibility, to self-esteem, to fear of rejection, and an oversensitivity to criticism. The positive side of this chakra is about optimism, good humor, confidence, and clear thinking. This third chakra rules what we refer to as the mental portion of our consciousness and governs thinking on both the psychic and intellectual and the power and control gained by our minds. A little bit deep thinking there. This chakra is the power chakra, and it governs our sense of self, the power that we have within and over our own destinies, and the power we have over others, and the power that others have over us. The interesting thing about this chakra is nobody can take the power from this chakra, but you as an individual are clearly able to actually give it away. And we'll get into reasons for that in a little bit. It's about standing up and being counted for what is important to you. See, so all of this stuff is really internal stuff. It's about what's important to you and how you react. Your primary fears in this chakra are linked to rejection, criticism, looking foolish, and failing to meet one's personal responsibilities. How many times in your life have you discounted what you wanted because you didn't want to take responsibility for making it happen? I remember, on a personal note, I remember back when I first graduated from high school, I wanted to become a massage therapist. That's what I wanted. But I didn't want to pay the hefty bill for school. At that time, for 4 years, it would have been about $40,000. And as a 17-year-old graduating from grade 12, that number was just too big for me. And I wasn't prepared to take the personal responsibility for it. Now, I did go on and I did do some business education at college, and I finished my third year. I never did finish college. But again, I could pick up right now and I could go finish my degree if I want to. I feel as though I'm at a point in my life where it's probably not really necessary, because I have so much other life experience that I think it's really made up for not having those few little designate letters behind my name. Anyway, so it's about claiming your own personal responsibility for making or not making things happen in your life. So the question would be is, where are you not taking your personal responsibility? All fears related to the physical appearance are held in this chakra. So that includes obesity, baldness, aging, and fear that others will discover our secrets. That's all held within the personal power chakra. And the negative side of this chakra is the vanity, excess, pessimism, slyness, and cowardice. The primary strengths relating to this chakra is our self-esteem, self-respect, and self-discipline. The courage to take risks and the courage to claim and go after what you want in your own life. Your generosity, your ethics, your strength of character, and the development of self-understanding. We have a choice to make when we develop healthy self-esteem. We are capable of making healthy decisions, or are we capable of making healthy decisions that will direct our personal power for decision making to the hands of someone else? So this is what we were talking about earlier. It's about giving your personal power away. And sometimes you might do this because in order to feel personal safety, you might lessen your own power sense and give that power to somebody else so that they will look after you. Okay? Instead of you holding yourself accountable and responsible for looking after yourself. You will make yourself weaker. And the problem with doing that is in making yourself emotionally weaker, you make a decision to weaken that chakra, and when that chakra is weakened, you open yourself up to disharmony and a weakened physical system. So see how that all flows? We make a decision to weaken our emotional self in order to allow somebody else to take responsibility for us, which reflects in our physical system, which weakens our response in that area, which then opens us up to the pain, illness, and disease. Wow. So there's the whole body-mind connection. Okay. For the physical level of the solar plexus, now that was the emotional center. So for the physical level of the solar plexus, we resonate with the boundaries of the physical body. So again, being able to stand in your power and saying no or stop. So look at yourself and decide whether you are physically strong or physically weak. And some of you might say, well, I'm physically strong here, but I'm physically weak there. Okay, so a physically weak area will indicate a place where you've given your power away. And you don't necessarily, we're getting a little off topic here, but I think it's important to bring up that when you give your power away, say you can do that in any one of the chakra centers. So when you give your power away for your self-esteem, that would affect your solar plexus chakra. And you can also give your power away when it comes to the tribe. You can also give your power away when it comes to personal partnerships, which would be your sacral chakra. So we can do this in all different aspects of all of our chakras. And where we decide to give it away It'll create weakness in the body, which then opens you up to what they call a lower vibration, which then opens you up to pain, illness, and disease. So a little bit off subject there, but I just thought it was important to start to connect some of these dots on a little bit more of an advanced level rather than just the beginner level. When you look at yourself and decide whether you're physically strong or physically weak, it has huge implications in being able to develop your spirit. So let's take, for instance, a person in a wheelchair. So being in a wheelchair, you're there for various reasons, and we're not going to get into that. The question now becomes, when we come to your personal power center, is if you're in a wheelchair or if you have a very physically debilitating disease, how has that affected your spirit? Okay, and let me just read what I wrote here. And that actually might be, your answers to these questions will be a good indication of your concepts of your self-esteem and your status within your personal power center. And although a person in a wheelchair may never regain the use of their legs, their personal power center development determines whether or not they lose the power of their spirit, their ability to make a difference in the world according to what they feel is important, and their ability to love, encourage, and to be with others. So you see how losing your physical ability to walk doesn't necessarily mean that you lose power within your personal power center. You see how they are completely two different things. Sorry guys, a little deep here. Yeah, I know. But that's okay, because even if you don't completely resonate with some of these concepts yet, I'm very glad that you're here, because what they do is it's like putting the little grain of sand in the oyster, right? Once that same grain of sand gets in there, you're now open to expanding your thoughts and expanding your horizons around what that little grain of sand means. And as you know, with the oyster, that little grain of sand will eventually turn into a pearl. So just being open to building upon these concepts will really create this nugget for you of value. Sometimes it might be a little bit of a process to get there, but I'm happy to be involved, and I'm grateful to be included in that process for you. Your true power in the solar plexus chakra is your power to take personal responsibility for self. And this includes, so we'll use the example of if you're an alcoholic and you take the personal responsibility to join AA. If you're in a bad marriage, you take the personal responsibility to separate yourself from that marriage in order to see what your true potential and your true responsibility to self is. This is a true representation of us being able to face our fears, and facing your fears, you're able to release them and become more empowered, more healthy, more vital, and more successful. We have worked to discover ourselves, to understand why we keep secrets or have addictions or blame others for your own errors. You want to have things so badly, we must work to understand why we find it difficult to receive or give a compliment. Whether we carry shame within us, and whether we need to become comfortable taking pride in our own character and our own accomplishments. And really it's about clearing an identity for ourselves based upon self-discovery and not upon the biological or ethnic inheritance that you see come through the tribal and the root chakras. The color of this chakra, we'll get down to a few more of the basics. The color of this chakra is yellow, and you can resonate with any shade of yellow. There is schools of thoughts around the shades, but for beginner section here, let's just go with the shade of yellow. In the feeling center, so again, if you remember last week we talked about, and I posted a picture of the vortices for the sacral chakra. And so we have the feeling center, which is in the front. And what the feeling center does is it gives great pleasure and expansiveness, spiritual wisdom, and consciousness to the universality of life. And the will center in the back, so that's where your will is held within your own personal power, is the healing intentionally towards one's health. Yeah, that one's a good one, hey? So if you're having mid-back problems, we'll talk about that in a little bit. Okay, so the voice of the solar plexus chakra is, I can accomplish both easily and difficult tasks with grace and with ease. And the objective of this chakra is to carry on a relationship with yourself. And we've gone from, so back from the Piscean age, the age of Aquarius, we've gone from control and force to opening to your true power. So trying to control and force others to take responsibility for you, to really opening yourself up and taking true responsibility for self. Now, the interesting thing is this chakra, the solar plexus, the personal power chakra, develops between the ages of 2.5 and 4. So if you know any 4-year-olds out there and they're standing there with their hands on their hips and they're claiming what they want, they are truly in the process of developing their personal power chakra. And you as their parent, you need to realize that and honor that and help them figure out how to get what they need without playing the power games, the power trip games, okay? So the other way children try and get what they need is they'll try and smoothly and gently and hint and manipulate, and if that doesn't work, they just stand their ground. So if you're having problems in your personal power center, take a hint from a 4-year-old. I'm kidding. No, because we don't want you standing there having a temper tantrum. You must remember that the personal power held in the solar plexus is just like the mighty rivers. And let's use the mighty Fraser. Since I'm in the Vancouver area, we have a large river system that comes down through the province of British Columbia, Canada, and it's called the mighty Fraser, and that's what we call it. So these rivers just are. You know, you can talk about, I think it's called the Lord's River in Europe, or the mighty Mississippi, and we have the mighty Fraser. These rivers just are. So if you can compare your solar plexus chakra to the mighty Mississippi or the mighty Fraser, and it just is. And it's a true representation of all your thoughts, all your beliefs, all your ego, all your self-esteem, just being held in this container of the river, and just allow it to flow. They just exist, and they hold their own personal space. They don't often encroach on somebody else's space, and if you encroach on theirs, depending on how you do it, you might end up in some really turbulent waters. So they have to keep their own personal space, sometimes sharing with boats and canoes. But sports enthusiasts know that they're going to have to really respect those waters that they're in. So these rivers represent your true power, as opposed to the force of a 4-year-old trying to hold over their parents what they want their parents to give them. These rivers have power, and they have their root, and they have their path, and they just follow it. There's not a lot of drama within, like I say, tumbling over their own boundaries. They just hold themselves and they just go through it. A true representation of personal power, holding strong to yourself regardless of what's going on around you. The solar plexus chakra is power, just like the river, holding space for yourself. And let's start to shift into an age of courage and an age of personal power. Now, I'd like to go into a bit of a visualization here, as I do in all of my online training. So this time I'm gonna ask you to sit comfortably in a chair, everything uncrossed. We don't want meridians crossing, we don't want chakras crossing, we don't want energy paths crossing. So that's the reason why we ask you to sit, feet flat on the floor, hands uncrossed, whatever's comfortable, on the arms of the chair, held up, or just resting gently in your lap, just as long as everything is uncrossed. Take a nice deep breath in and out and in. And I want you to see yourself just standing on the nice sandy bank of a large river that maybe is near you. I'm going to use the Fraser River because that's a river near me. This Fraser River, it's a large river system that runs through our state or our province and gathering information, gathering water sources as it moves through the province. And sometimes it has to move through these skinny canyons and the water gets deep and rough and turbulent. And sometimes, as in the Vancouver area, the river splays out into a large delta and the river just meanders along, cautiously, carefully, in and out, undulating with great power and great flow behind it. So picture yourself standing on the riverbank of a great mighty river that maybe you have seen or visited at some time in your life. And I want you to see that there's no drama in the river. It just is. It has its limitations. It has its boundaries. And we are going to take a moment here and we're going to step into the river, to step in to understanding the own personal power, the own force, your own ability to create and move forward while holding within your own personal boundaries. So as you take a step in, feel the river rolling across your feet. You're probably not feeling a whole lot of force or pressure from the river yet, but continue to wade in. And the deeper you go, the more you can feel that force, that personal power of the river trying to move you. Now remember, you have moved into its boundaries. It has not moved into yours. So this is an example of the type of personal power, the type of self-esteem, the type of personal boundaries and personal responsibility we need to have for ourselves. The river is just the example, and aren't we lucky that we can visualize ourselves standing in the river and feeling that force without expectations. That force is just moving to us, and we have moved within that boundary. So keep moving, keep moving. Keep moving deeper and deeper into the river. And for our purposes here today, the river is not going to wash you away. You are quite safe. I want you to know that you are quite safe within the river. And we are here purely for the experience, to be able to sense for ourselves what that sense of power is. And even though we are now an object within that river, notice how the water comes and presses up against us. And instead of trying to push us over, it simply just splits and moves around us and joins again together once it's completed moving around us. So that's the example of the flow that we should all have when it comes to trying to obtain what we want for ourselves in our own life. We might have objects come in to try and block us, to try and stop us, to try and have us change directions. But it's within your own abilities to hold yourself responsible. It is within your own self-esteem that we have the personal power to accomplish what is important to us. And just stand there for a moment and just feel that river. And then when you've had your fill of the experience, and you have a mental and a physical understanding of what that personal power is about, I ask you to slowly walk back towards shore. Moving away from the river. And while you're standing on the sandy bank, yet again, allow that example to flow through you. Allow you to be the power held within the river. And when you're ready, you can slowly start to come back to us. And coming back. So the other aspect of the personal power chakra is what pain, illnesses, and diseases are held within the lack of personal responsibility, the lack of self-esteem that are held within this chakra in particular. So the stomach is an organ that is held within this personal power center, and the stomach represents on a metaphysical, emotional, mental level the balance of being able to receive and assimilate what is needed to nurture your body. And it's also in charge of deciding what to let go. So as you eat food, it has the essential nutrients and minerals and all of that essential fats and stuff. And it goes down into your stomach. And the stomach allows the acids to come in. And it is the stomach that decides what you need and what you don't. So if you're having stomach problems, probably one of the primary questions you should be asking yourself is, what is going on? What are you taking in that you really cannot stomach, that you cannot assimilate? So maybe you're in a relationship where your way of thinking is just completely and totally different than your spouse, or your way of being doesn't resonate with your boss. So where are you being in your life? Where are you holding yourself that you can no longer stomach the way it is? So when you can answer that question, we can start to if you're not answering and being responsible to that question, you'll probably be experiencing some stomach problems. Problems in the pancreas are also related to the personal power chakra. And the pancreas aids in breaking down fats. So fats are, I always look at fats and I always try and choose fats that are the good stuff in life, like the rich experiences, the nothing like the barbecued fat on the edge of a steak. So, the good stuff, the stuff in which life is built on, okay? Not being able to break down and absorb the good stuff indicates resistance to change. Okay? You don't want to bring in the good stuff because that's going to change what's going on in there, okay? Usually because of the obsessive need to worry. Okay? And generally the obsessive need to worry because of your feelings of inadequacy. So if you're having problems in the pancreas, know that it's a personal power issue. Know that you have deep feelings of inadequacy and you're worrying about them and you're not able to take in some of the good stuff in life. You're not able to break down and assimilate those fatty things in life, okay? The gallbladder, which aids in the ability to break down and assimilate your information, whereas the pancreas is more about the experience. Having too much bile can result in gall. Have you ever heard that used in a sentence? Boy, that guy has a lot of gall, and it's usually a negative indication. And it describes somebody that has a lot of nerve, okay? And is not behaving as society expects them to or not assimilating to society. Not enough bile shows that you have to take, so that's too much bile. So not enough bile shows that you take a really long time to break through. So break through feelings, break through thoughts, break through emotions down, and you have to take a long time breaking them into their useful components. So too much bile and not enough bile. And here we were talking earlier about the mid-back. So your inner stiffness, so we were talking about mid-back in the personal will center. So inner stiffness and the ability to make a decision and holding on due to fears and the inability to move forward with the events that are important to you. This is the point of balance in the back, and it creates the opportunity to move in different directions. So if you're having problems in your will center, what you want to create, your will center, and you're having issues in your mid-back, look at where you're not making decisions in your life. Look at where you're not being willing to switch directions and not being able to move and really creating a lot of inflexibility. So finally, generally this chakra allows you to easily claim what is right for yourself in any and all circumstances. Some final questions to reflect on includes, do you like yourself? That would really affect your self-esteem. If you didn't like yourself or like aspects of yourself, your self-esteem would be really affected. So the other part of this chakra is about self-truth and self-responsibility. So the great thing is you do not have to acknowledge to others that you do not like yourself. You can do that strictly to yourself, and then we can take specific steps to change that. And generally, it's not that you don't like yourself, it's probably more that you don't like some of your behaviors, some of the things that you feel as though you've been forced into doing, or places where you've given your power away and you're finding now that it's really not working for you. Okay, so that's all self-esteem, that's all taking personal responsibility, personal power. What else? Do you find it easy to misrepresent the truth? Giving those little white lies. Okay, do you find it easy to do that? And how critical are you of others And do you use this as a deflection away from yourself? So if we're overly self-critical, what we can do is we'll find faults in others, and we'll talk about their faults rather than our own. Again, a self-esteem issue, right? So if you can't talk about your own faults and how to improve upon or take personal responsibility or create a betterment of, then chances are you're going to talk about somebody else, right? Just totally removing any personal responsibility for your behavior. And how often do you find yourself wishing your life was different? Ooh, wishing your life was different again. Not wanting to take responsibility for making the changes that you need to see in your own life to create your own happiness. So, wishing for anything is a really good indicator that you need to make some changes. So I didn't go through it today, but I will also attach, we've gone through it in the last 2 videos, so those of you that are watching this series, I will also attach the understanding your own underlying messages in your body illness. I will attach this sheet. You can download it as a PDF, and we can go understanding some of the issues with some of the organs that and body parts that are held within the sacral chakra or the personal power center. You can go through this worksheet and you can really answer these questions on your own time and see where you're holding yourself back, figure out where you're not creating your own personal responsibility, and figuring out what's on the other side of that door. If you were to allow yourself to be responsible, what could you receive or achieve that's on the other side of that door that you may be holding yourself back from? So these are all questions that you can work through on your own time using the understanding your own underlying messages in your body worksheet. That was a bit of a mouthful. I think I'll have to change that title. Anyways, thank you so much for joining me. Your call to action today is to download the worksheet, go through to the blog, and I'll have all the information on there posted about the issues with the stomach and the issues with the pancreas. We put them all together in beautiful little infographics for you, so you can download those and take a look, and it'll help you really get clear on how you might want to focus and use the river technique that I shared with you here today. Share in the comments below about how you're going to apply this information, and I want to hear from you. If you love this video, please leave a comment and share it with your friends, and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss another episode. If you're looking for more free content on energy healing techniques, inspiration, or understanding how your body is speaking to you and what it might be saying, along with free training, master classes, and challenges, sign up for email updates and you'll be in the know at carolserby.com. I hope these videos help you to get clear on how to start to listen to your body, understand where you get blocked and tripped up, and use this information to learn to listen and live to your absolute full potential. It is your time to get clear, get brave. It is your time to live full throttle so you can be the example and give others permission to do the same. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time on Body Talk Revolution TV. Thank you. Bye.